With more roster cuts on the way, is a guy like Tommy Devito safe? If not, do you foresee the Giants actually cutting Devito? Or do you think the Giants would trade him? Let me know what you think about that down in the comments. I don't think the Giants are going to end up cutting DeVito. I don't think the Giants are going to end up carrying 4 quarterbacks. I think the Giants are going to end up trading Tommy DeVito. DeVito, this preseason, looked pretty good. Overall, threw for 323 pass yards, 4 touchdowns, 1 interception, but he got most of his action in versus the Patriots, where he went 17 for 20, threw for 198 pass yards, and threw for 3 touchdowns. Let's look back to DeVito's 2023, where he played in 9 games for the Giants, threw for over 1,100 yards, 8 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, sacked 37 times that year. He got beat up, but that Giant team kind of stunk too, went 6-11. DeVito, in my opinion, would get you something. Nothing too sexy, but he would get you something. He might get you a pick. I don't foresee the Giants passing him through waivers and putting him on the practice squad because I don't think he would pass through waivers. He would be claimed. And if someone's going to claim him, which someone will, he's good enough to be a third QB on a team. Someone will claim him. Why not just go and get some value for him, whether that's a safety, whether that's just a pick. I think that's the direction the Giants will end up taking, as they should. DeVito created value, right? Himself. He did it himself. I mean, the Giants did, of course, by playing the kid. But DeVito, playing as well as he has, created value for himself, created a little market for himself. We'll see what ends up happening. We'll see what the Giants end up getting for DeVito. Don't think it's going to be much, but it's going to be something. Because as I said, in my opinion, he's not going to go unclaimed. Someone's going to grab him off the waiver wire. So we'll see what the Giants eventually end up doing with DeVito. But what if they want to keep DeVito? Is a guy like Jameis Winston safe? Could the Giants potentially trade Winston? That's a no for me. I don't think that's going to end up happening. Winston is a great guy to have in the locker room. Great guy to have. Great for morale. This preseason, threw for 219 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick. But this guy has a 2-year deal with the Giants. Next season, if Russell Wilson is not a New York Giant and Jaxson Dart is your starting quarterback, you have a very inexpensive backup in Jameis Winston. An experienced, inexpensive backup in Jameis Winston. That's why the Giants, I believe, signed him to a 2-year deal. Don't see Winston being traded. I'm seeing that floating around, but I just don't see that happening. And then it comes down to Russell Wilson. Is Russell Wilson's roster spot safe on the New York Giants? Of course it is. Daboll said it time and time again. Russell Wilson will be the starting quarterback week 1. The Giants paid Wilson a lot of money. $10 million. They're not going to cut him, right? They're not just going to cut him and pay him all that money not being on the team. In fact, I don't even think there's even a trade market for a guy like Wilson because no one wants to, I believe, would take on that contract. They would force the Giants to cut him if the Giants want to move on from him. And then they would probably sign him to a very cheap deal, but Wilson still gets his money from the Giants. And this contract could come out to, I believe, $20 million. I don't think Wilson's going to reach all of his incentives, but it could come up to that much money for the Giants. Don't think he's going to reach that, but he's a little expensive. Don't foresee the Giants cutting him and playing Jaxson Dart week 1. Don't think that's the right move. I think with Jaxson Dart, you have to relax, have to give the kid some time, let him learn behind Russell Wilson. They've done this before. The Giants organization has done this before 21 years ago. With Eli Manning and Kurt Warner. And the Giants, I believe, were 5-4. Coughlin goes to young Eli Manning. That's when he made the change. Giants ended up finishing that year 6-10. But if they feel like, hey, the season isn't shaping out the way we want it to, you could see a change. You could see Jaxson Dart as the starting quarterback for the Giants. But as of right now, this is Russell Wilson's job. So any thoughts of him being moved, traded, throw that out. It's not happening. DeVito is the most tradable because of his contract, his age, and I don't think the Giants are just going to end up cutting him. They'll probably end up moving him. Now, if they carry 4 quarterbacks, well then smack my tail and call me freaking Sal. I don't know. If they end up keeping them and carrying 4 QBs, I just don't see that happening. But here's another thing that I could see the Giants doing, and this is according to Bill Barnwell of ESPN, proposed 10 potential trades. He could see the Giants, Chargers, and Cardinals make a rare 3-way trade in the NFL. The Giants would end up getting a 7th-round draft pick from the Chargers, 2027, 7th-rounder. The Chargers would get Evan Neal and a 2026 5th-rounder from the Cardinals, and the Cardinals would get wide receiver Quentin Johnson. So this would be another scenario where the Giants wouldn't cut Evan Neal. They would just get some value, and that would be a 7th-round draft pick, a future pick for Evan Neal. Evan Neal hasn't turned out, as we know. He was supposed to be a stud. They picked him 7th overall in the 2022 draft. They picked Kayvon 2 spots ahead of him. We expected Evan Neal to be a lot better. Just hasn't been. He hasn't been the player that we wanted him to be. So listen, you guys let me know what you think about this down in the comments. Thank you guys so much for watching. More Giants content on the way. This is Joe, and until next time, signing out.